Hello friends and welcome to Ariel's Twilight Years, how to be a really old model. Today I am squeezing in a quick YouTube video in between this morning where I was stepping accidentally in cowpats for a fetish movie and then wearing a silver bikini for a fetish movie, and then I've got a documentary filmmaker calling me in 25 minutes. So I'm just squeezing this in very quickly because I had an idea that I really wanted to share with you. This month for me has been all about promoting the crowdfunding for my forthcoming memoir, Playing to Lose. I've never done crowdfunding before and it's really exciting and kind of addictive. The day I'm recording this is the 25th of July. I am 67% funded, which has happened in 3 weeks, which seems really good going. So thank you so much to everyone who's supported me and my book. And we've got 364 people who've supported it. Is that right? Yes, 364 supporters. You are so very appreciated. Thank you. It's really scary. I was really frightened that my book's crowdfunding would start and no one would want the book, or 10 people would want the book and that would be it. But even though I'm now over 2/3 of the way, I still feel scared that it will suddenly stop and no one will want it. So every pledge genuinely is noticed and hugely appreciated. So to celebrate getting 2/3 of the way through funding and my book inching closer to publication, today I'm just going to read out random sentences from my book. I'm just going to use my trackpad, like spin the bottle. I'm going to spin to a particular page, so this is page 8, and then I'm going to point with my finger and I'm just going to read you some sentences. She never traumatised me or wore gas masks or pretended to be Captain Hook. So there we are. That's my family, definitely not to blame for the fact that I've always wanted to be tied up. That's from chapter 1. Let's carry on. The climbers, played exquisitely by my fingers, had to navigate the treacherous terrain of whatever dress I happened to be wearing as I sat in my plastic chair, failing to listen to a series of men telling me about Satan. The finger climbers made light work of the gentle foothills formed by the skirts of my dress, but then came the hazards of my more or less vertical bodice. Let's spin the wheel. That didn't go very far. That's still chapter 2. Oh God, there we go. Aged about 6, I had lost all interest in ever trying to look normal in a single photograph anyone ever took of me. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was the beginning of my desire to prioritise originality over propriety. This is bloody fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. It just sounds so very weird out of context. This is hard. The trackpad spinning is... It's a new laptop. There we go. Oh, this is the middle of me writing myself, my past self, a note. It's the saddest chapter in the whole book. I don't know if I can read it without crying. I can't read it without crying, so skip that bit. It made me cry when I wrote it, and it makes me cry when I read it. And I'd love to tell you it's because I'm just that powerful a writer, but I think it might just be that it was the most horrific experience to go through. I discovered I was kinky all in one hideous moment, and I spent the next 10 years of my life desperately trying to repress it as much as I could because I found out under really awful circumstances. Okay, we're in chapter 5. I'm nothing if not predictable. I just developed a new crush on a male authority figure, and my response was, surprise, to try to get top grades, which is what I did. I was a relentless teenager, exhausting to teach, I'm absolutely sure. Oh, enter an unsuitable boyfriend. This was exactly the sort of thing I loved, and Lawrence, it turned out, was excellent at it. He was agile, taller than me, so with a similar reach, and as I discovered between bouts of sword fighting, also equipped with his advanced stage fight qualification. We were evenly matched, and he was gracious whenever I scored a point. Ha! Ha ha! That didn't last. Pictures came back from the printer. The theatre company decided that they couldn't include me on the poster. Jocelyn, it turned out, looked too sexual. I didn't know what they meant. I was fully and baggily clothed, for heaven's sake. I wasn't wearing heavy makeup, I was just leaning against a wall looking at the camera like everyone else was. But now I rejoice. They couldn't make me something I wasn't. I am sexual. Ha ha ha! Oh, I discovered that I could maybe try modelling. Amazingly, he wrote back. He'd be happy to do my headshots, he said, and he'd book a makeup artist to ensure that we got the best result. All he was looking for in return, he said, was for me to pose for some art nude images on the new set he'd just built in his studio. I'd never heard of art nude, but I assumed it couldn't be anything obscene, since it had the word art in it. This is fun, I want to do the whole book. I want to do the whole book like this. But now I knew some of these Londoners, and one of them was about to tie me up and take photographs of me. Malcolm didn't know an awful lot about bondage either, but he was happy to give it a go since he, I think, felt a little responsible for the fact that I was about to go and work with one of England's most famous sadists. This is such fun because I know there's all these things that happen in the book and I can't wait for people to read them because, given that I'm only 45, a lot of very kinky stuff has happened. Okay, bit sad. I was a bondage model and I was content. Not totally, because doing bondage at shoots could not compare with a real BDSM relationship, and further exposure to the kinky community kept reminding me of this reality. But my job was a delight every single day. Something's about to go terribly wrong. In the book, not now. And oh my god, you guys, my husband-to-be had just touched me for the first time. I was quite right about his reluctance to put his arm around me too. That was one of my favourite chapters to write. I've started spanking modelling. Sitting on the plane back home was, predictably, an uncomfortable experience, but Dallas had invited me back to shoot with him again, and I felt as though we were really genuinely beginning to be friends. I'd found a world where I fit, and it was full of lovely people. The end. It's not the end, something ghastly happened next, but I survived. Come along and find out. When I was writing this, I was very much enjoying finishing every chapter with a invitation to read the next one. Maybe you should spank me now, I said shamelessly, since it's lunchtime. Without filming it, Howell looked quite put out. Yes, I mean, if you want to. And guess what happens, friends? Guess what happened next? Oh, this is grand, we're into the sex now. It was beautiful, he told me, the warmth in his voice impossible to miss. I would like you to do it again for me, but first you have to start breathing normally again. You are my beautiful slave girl, and I'm very pleased with you. And when I was home again, with time to reflect on it, I realised that having a real, genuine BDSM romance had made me hugely more comfortable with producing work that showed my sexual identity for what it was. Yes! Oh, I just want to carry on and tell you all of it. While being entirely uncompromising, Paul's character was as kind and respectful as the scenario allowed for. He turned his back as I raised my skirt in the way that he directed, and only turned back to me when I'd lowered my panties and taken the position he'd chosen for me, bending over with my palms resting on the fireplace and my feet apart. The room was beautiful, panelled in dark wood with a four-poster bed and a separate sitting room with masculine-looking furniture and the feeling of being in a library. Formal, old-fashioned, expensive-looking, perfect for a spanking story, as, in all honesty, was Drago. Tonight he was dressed formally and looking every inch the authoritative, sophisticated romantic lead he was going to be playing. Ooh! He slapped the other side of my face, and then the first. I'd entirely forgotten the pain in my nipples and pussy. I looked up at him, and an angry stranger returned my gaze. My moonwater-drinking, dog-rescuing, kindly friend was temporarily absent. Surely you want to read this book. Please pledge for my book. Naked flames burn people. I have scars to prove it. Dripping wax on someone is not the same as holding a flame against someone's actual skin, and human beings thrive best when not set on actual fire. That's It's one of the later chapters, and I'm quite angry talking about bondage safety. The second thing I discovered was that I was lonely in lockdown too, and that making porn helped me stay connected to other kinky people. I'd been in the immensely privileged position of travelling the world like a snooty kink sommelier, sampling the very best quality BDSM experiences with the best producers over the last decade. Now that was over, and I missed my kinky friends and the variety of activities we filmed together. We're very near the end, friends, because that's COVID. Porn has given me my house, the car I'm driving, the watch I'm wearing, the rock I'm rocking. In the movie Pretty Women, Richard Gere's character shouts at his lawyer, "I've made you a very rich man doing exactly what you love." As a teenager, it stuck in my head because it sounded so nice, and I still think about it often. I'm not very rich, but I'm far richer than I've ever had any expectation of being, and I'm certainly doing exactly what I love. This is the last page. If only I could tell my teenage, guilt-ridden self that my life would one day be this joyful adventure, it'd make my journey to this point so much less angst-ridden. I can't tell her, but I can tell you. Please buy my book! I love it, I've loved writing it, I've loved marketing it, and I can't wait to work with a professional editor, but most of all, I can't wait for you to read it. And by pledging, you can make that happen sooner. Please help me, thank you. Also like, subscribe, but I can't really be bothered to care about that this month. I'm completely obsessed with people signing up for copies of my book, so please do that because it makes my acquisitive little heart terribly, terribly happy. And now I've got 10 minutes before a terrifying phone call. Thanks for listening. Bye!